it's Di here from Di's Den, and welcome to the last of the table favours. This one I left till last because it is actually just that. It's a name tag for on the table on Christmas Day. Or if you had any other occasions that you wanted them for, you could do them for that too. And inside this little box here, it holds a Ferrero Rocher chocolate. It's nice and snug. It's not going to run around in the box. And how cute is that? It is just so perfect. Now, once again, I'm using all retired products. As you know, for me, doing this is actually because I enjoy doing it. If I sell a product when it's brand new, well, that's great as a demonstrator, but I just enjoy showing you all these lovely projects and showing you how I make them. Some of them other people have made. I make them a slightly different. I might change the sizing. So this is what we're going to do today. This lovely last of the 5-day table favours. I've done these ones for Christmas Day, for Christmas breakfast at our house, because we have breakfast and then we're going to my brother's for lunch. So these are for my Christmas breakfast table for me and my husband, but I'm going to show you how I've made these. Okay, so let's pop them out of the way for a moment. Oops, over there, and I will show you what you need, and it's very, very little. So you're going to need a piece of card that measures 6 inches by 5 inches. Then you're going to need, for the box on the top, you're going to need a piece that measures 6 inches by 4¼ inches, and then you're going to need 2 pieces of that just on the front of the box, of the holder. This piece measures I can't see the measurements from here. 5 inches by 1¾ and this piece measures 5 inches by 1½. Then you just need a scrap, which I've cut using my tailor tag punch. Any punch will do, or if you want to just cut them out square, that's up to you too. So I just used a small piece of card like this, and this piece was just a scrap, and it's like 3 3/8 by 1½. So, and that's all I needed. And then I'm going to use these old dots, gold dots, to go with it. I'm also going to be using Perfectly Plaid for the Christmas tree. For the Merry Christmas that I'm going to put on the front of this. So I might just stamp that now, because that's the only bit of stamping there is to do. So let's do that first. I can stamp that on there. I'm using an old stamp pad called Pretty Peacock, and I love the colour, and I just think that it goes beautiful with this paper. And there's my Merry Christmas. So let's pop that out of the way for now. Pop the lid back on that, and that's all done. And we will start with our holder part, which is the plain piece of cardstock. So we're going to bring in our scoreboard, and we're going to score this on the long side. Now I need to bring this over, I can't see that far away, I'm sorry. On the long side, which is the 6-inch side, we're going to score this at 1/2 inch, and making sure we've got the correct end of our tool. 1¼ inches, 2 inches, and 4 inches. We're then going to turn it to the short side. We're not going to do anything for a minute. Now what we're going to do is we're still going to do some more scoring, but we're going to bring this in, and we're going to measure in along this score line here, the 2-inch score line here, the 4-inch score line, I mean, here. We're going to measure in 1 7/8 of an inch and put a dot. Okay, and then we're going to measure in 1/2 inch from this end and put a dot. Then we're going from those dots, we're going to pop our ruler on, and we're going to put a dot 1 inch either side of that. So there's like in the 2 inches mark. So this is the 1 inch, 2 inches either side, and then we're going to do exactly the same over here. I'll bring this over and we're going to pop it in and put a dot top and bottom here like so. Once we've done that, we're going to bring back in our board, and we can see those dots on there very, very carefully, and from that top dot we're going to then score down to that bottom dot, and we're going to do that on both of those. Now if I haven't got this quite in the right spot, there we go. And then turn it the other way, and we're going to score it across this way. And that's all the scoring on that piece that we're going to do. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're actually going to fold this in half at that where that score line was that we put on the funny angles. And we're going to bring in, well actually, what we can do first is we'll use a razor just to remove the marks, just in case they show up, which the ones on the backs would, so, or could. And we're going to close this up again, and we're going to cut down to, just going on the opposite side, just down to that other line there, but cutting the score line away. So we're just on the edge of the score line, and I'm going to cut that away like so. Alright, then I'm actually going to move my piece of card there, because I'm going to use my self-healing board and a craft knife, and I'm going to cut that piece right out across the bottom there. Now I found it easier to cut it out than to leave it in there. I left it in the first one, I cut it out of the second one I did. Okay, just making sure that that's cut down nicely on both sides like so, and removing that piece like that. So let's pop this knife away. I'm going to need it again in a little bit, but not yet, not quite yet. Okay, now that we've done that, we can fold and score all our, fold and burnish all our other score lines. So the next one is let's start with this then. Mountain, valley, mountain. So we have our folds like so. So when this closes over, it will now fold over like so. Oops, and glue together like that. So what we're going to do then is we're just going to actually just take the tiniest smidgen off of these corners of this piece here, so that that's ready. Now we'll bring in our other pieces that we've got for the front, which is our designer paper and our piece of, I've got white here, only because I just wanted something behind it, and I thought the white looked pretty behind this. Believe it or not, I'm going to glue these two pieces together, and they do butt up edge to edge on the ends here, and bring them down nicely so that they're in the right place. And then we're going to glue this to the front of the card. Now the front of the card is the piece with the extra piece on it. So we're going to glue this to the front of the card. And this will sit in it between the 2-inch line and the 4-inch line. Now that might look silly because we've got that there, oops. But what we're going to do then is we're going to turn this over, and we're going to move this out of the way again. Let me put a pin in my glue because it's a cool day today. And I will move that out of the way, and we're going to bring in our craft knife again, which is looking a bit worse for wear, and we're going to cut that section away in there. Now I find it easier to do it this way. You might want to use your scissors, but I found that I get a much nicer cut if I do it with a craft knife. Okay, this is a funny kind of paper, it's quite thick. I'm going to go over it one more time. Hopefully that got it this time. Yep, that's just those corners, so I'll come in from this side and just do those corners because I want to make sure they're nice and neat. And that piece is now rubbish. So once we've done that, I can throw my tools all over the floor. Hang on, I'll just get my bone folder because I'm going to need it again in a minute. Oh, nearly me. I can't even reach it. There we go. Have to get up after all. Okay, so now we have our main part of our box done, our holder done, and we're just going to run some glue along this bottom section here. And fold this under and back. Fold this one over on top of it. Once we've done that, we can then pop that down nice and tight, like so. And then I've got a little bit of glue there, which I'm luckily with the glue that I'm using will dry clear and not sticky. So that is our holder. So let's pop my pin in my glue again in a minute, and let's move that out of the way and bring in our other piece of card. This is our other piece that makes our box, and we're going to be bringing back in our, I don't know where my tool's gone. I have to use the other one, it's on the floor and I'm not going down on the floor again. Okay, so we're bringing in a piece for our box. Now I'm using, this is designer series paper, but it's very, very thick. So you need a thickish card, or you need to cover your box with little pieces of card, designer series paper. And we're going to score this one on the long side at 1 3/8, 2 3/4, 4 1/8, and 5 1/2. Now on this one I can't, this ball is a bit bigger than this one, but this is actually a bit bigger ball than the other ball, but it doesn't matter. Okay, on this side we're going to score this at 1 inch, 2 3/8 of an inch, and 3 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so these sections here should all be 1 3/8. Yep. Okay, so what we've done now is on this one, we're going to go into the first one and score that down to the first score at the 3-inch mark, and then we're going to bring it along and we're going to score in the third one at the 3-inch mark. Now you don't have to do that, you can actually cut it if you want. Whoops, that doesn't go in there. But that, I just did it that way because it just looks a little bit easier. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to fold and burnish all of these score lines except for those last two that we put in. A little bit hard to see them on this card. Just making sure that that comes to there, yep. And then the bottom one, you will notice is not quite the right height, but that's because we don't need to waste any more card than we have to. Okay, so now we're going to cut on the bottom ones. These are the smaller squares. They're they're more rectangular than squares, we're going to just cut up to the first score line on all 4 of these score lines. Oops. And then this one we're going to just miter away and cut that piece away. On this one we're going to do the same. We're going to miter into there, and then I'm going to turn this over because it's just easier. I'm going to cut down to that second score line. With all of the next ones, I'm going to do this on the back because it's just easier. I can see what I'm doing. We're going to cut down to the second score line on all of these. Like so. Now we're going to bring this in and we're going to cut away at that score line there. The next one we're actually going to cut away completely along that score line. The next one is at that 3-inch score line across there, so we're going to just pop that across there, and that's what we're left with, like that. That's our box. So now we're going to just turn these around and we're going to just miter these, or notch these corners, whatever you want to call them. Notch these corners, not miter them. We're going to just do these, make sure that you've cut away that score line on both sides, and just going to cut just a smidgen down that side, because I find that the box will close better. Okay, and then we're just going to pop in the tops, the tiniest little bit on these, because we're going to use the corner rounder. I've just thrown that all over the floor, would you believe? Good job we've got a vacuum in here later. And we're going to just bring in our corner rounder and just round those corners, just that tiny bit, just to finish it off. Okay, so we're then going to bring our box over and we're going to put some glue on our little tab here. Now if you're like me and you're using cardstock that has a foil finish on it, you will need to make sure that you put it, if you're using tape, you need to use something very strong, or you need to use a fair bit of glue. So then we're going to turn this box over upside down with the flap facing you. Right, so we're going to pop in the side panel and pop a tiny bit of glue along that top bit there. And bring in the other side one and so pop that down. We're then going to bring in this back one, so we're going to pop some glue on this back one and turn that under, and then the front one. That way you get a nice edge along the front of your box. Making sure that your box is nice and square, then turn it up the right way. Just use your bone folder just to squish it down in the bottom like so. And we can pop our little chocolate inside, pop in the sides and the front of the box like so. We'll bring in our piece. This will slide beautifully inside that little gap there that we've got there. Then we can just put our little bit of decoration. So I've got Merry Christmas here, which I'm going to put on with a couple of dimensionals. And one little, I'll pop the pin in my glue first because of the weather. One little one of these. I'm just going to pop that in the bottom there like so. Pop those off. And lay him on in that middle section just there like so. What do you reckon? What a gorgeous little project. I hope you've enjoyed Table Favour Week, and I hope you've enjoyed the last one. In fact, I think I like that one better than this one. I really think I do. I think I like This looks more elegant. And especially with that Merry Christmas on there. But there you go, that's my project, and that's the last of the Table Favour Week projects. I hope you really enjoyed that. It was a fun job to do, and if you'd like the written tutorial for that, please head over to Diane for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorials. There you'll find the written tutorial dated the same day. It goes live the same day as the YouTube video, and it's free to join. If you've enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. Don't miss any more by subscribing. So I'd like you to subscribe so that you don't miss any more of my projects, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.